Welcome, everybody, this evening to another edition of the replay where we try to make your day. I'm your host, Jabril Rashad, aka Real Deal Jabril, and joining me to the stage is my other co-host, none other than my guy, Action Jackson from Nebraska. And as you can see, he's decked out in his white and red, representing them corn huskers. Good
All
evening to
day,
you, my
every
brother. How you
day.
doing?
Oh, blessed and grateful, my brother. Always a blessing to be here with my brother, actually speaking to our people.
Absolutely, man. I'm glad that you could make it another day, another week. I know you had some things that you was tired of doing last week, and it seemed like this week, DA Alexander the Great, man, he'll be joining us. Hopefully. I know he had some other things he had to do too, but he was trying to join us and had some technical difficulties. So hopefully he'll come on and join us on this episode, man, on the replay. But Tim, let's go ahead and get into this thing, man. Because there's a lot to talk about. But before we do any of that, y'all hit that subscribe, like, and share button for me. Join us at each week as we do this show on Mondays and Thursday, and we're still growing the channel. So we got a lot of things to delve into. Much have been said about the P Diddy situation. Of course, we already know about how they raided his properties, and then the videotape that came out a few days ago with him and Cassie and the assault that he did with her, but then he came out and apologized. So what we're going to be talking about, discussing that along with these NBA playoffs, is P. Diddy's apology to the public. Some say it wasn't real enough. Some say he didn't apologize to Cassie. Some say that it was nothing but a facade, or whatever the case may be. But whatever it is, man, let's get into that and talk about that real quick. And here's the apology that he talked about.
I'm so sorry. I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy. I'm going to rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry.
I had to put that with the Goldberg toward the end with the look on her face. But yeah, Tim, you didn't get a chance to come on last week, man. When we discussed the first video that went out with P. Diddy, man, chasing behind Cassie as she was walking, making her way toward the elevator, and he assaulted her, and then that was the apology. So we want to talk about that because I had some things I had to say in that regards, but I'm also looking at some things that has occurred. And I'm gonna put another video here in just a second. But there are some other things that has occurred that people are not really talking about. But give me your take on it, Tim, and tell me what you see, what you thought.
Man, I tell you, that whole, first of all, his apology was a dollar late, a dollar short. You know what I'm saying? So he apologized after the video comes out. That looks disingenuous, right? And even if he was just apologizing to the public, because that's not an apology to Cassie, because he didn't mention her. So I don't even consider that unless you address the person that you're apologizing to. He's apologizing to the public on that video. So that's how I look at it. No other way, but he apologizing to the public for them finding out about it, right? So that it's just heinous, man, that because you think about anybody's family, your mother, your sister, your daughter, whatever, nobody, whether these women decided, because they're grown women. So they had choices and they chose whatever the reason is besides that, and I do know a coercion situation as well, too. So there is an element of that as well, too. So it's sad when these people didn't have the discernment when they saw the devil to say, "Ooh, I better step away from this," when they realized there's really devilish things going on. And that's the sad part about it. If you get caught up in that, man, we don't wish that on nobody's family to get caught up in that circle. Because, man, they had a whole frat party, their whole thing is like a big fraternity or a special club that was going on. They turn the phones in, they do all kind of things like that, and then so nobody has cameras but him. He's filming everything, and so all these people been put in these positions, but it's so many people. You know what made me really think about this was, how, when the first video came out, that video had been out for a long, they had the video for a long time. So why isn't the video coming out right now, right?
Right.
And two, what powers, with all his power and control and all his connections and the people above him and all their connections, why are they allowing it to come out as well too? And they're not using their connections to hold it up, to make sure, because it's already past that time. So this is a part of his sacrifice right now? So is he sacrificing himself, and he's a sacrificial lamb right now? So he has lie on a sword right now for some other people. And when they go and storm his place, they looking to actually cover up some stuff because they want to get those videos so other people won't be implemented as well. So when you look at this thing, it's way bigger than what we really understand. And I'm just speaking on speculative because I don't really know it myself, but just what I'm looking at and what I kind of see and what I've kind of known for things. When people do these frat type of things, people want to cover up and do things, right? And so then he comes out with this apology, looking all sad, like he ain't slept in 18 days, right? And put on a good act, but like I said, $1 late and $1 short.
Well, let me say, I definitely concur. I said last week, a few days ago, his behavior was definitely sadistic in a whole lot of ways. But there's a lot of onion to peel back here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm gonna play another video before I actually comment on this, because there are some things I started to question. And you see this time and time again with individuals. And believe me, I stand 10 toes down, man, in referencing, you never hit a woman. You never do that to a person to where you're just overly. It's called overkill. I mean, you outweigh this young lady by what, 50, 60 pounds perhaps. And you will go to that extent, but I'm gonna play this video because I got some more comments I want to make in their regards, because something stuck out to me after watching this video. But check this out.
Exclusive video of Sean P. Diddy Combs assaulting his then girlfriend Cassie Ventura back in 2016. It happened in Los Angeles just days before the premiere of her film, The Perfect Match. Joining me now is an Emmy-nominated entertainment reporter for Hip Hollywood and KTLA, who spoke to Cassie just days after the assault. Please welcome the one and only Jasmine Simpkins. Jasmine, how are you? How's everything?
I'm good, Stephen A. How are you?
Thank you so much for joining me, particularly at this hurried late notice. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. All right, listen. On the Hip Hollywood site, you did some reporting on Cassie during the premiere of her film, The Perfect Match, back in 2016. I want to play a portion of that for our audience, and then we'll get into the conversation, all right? I want you to watch this. Here you go.
There's these people everywhere. Everywhere. Hip Hollywood was on hand for the March 7th premiere, also attended by Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Jennifer Lopez, and captured this footage of she and Combs smiling for the cameras on the red carpet. We also spoke to Cassie about her role in shooting intimate scenes with her co-star, Terrence J.
We're friends at the end of the day, and that is very awkward when you're just friends with somebody and you're not in love, but we're comfortable with each other, so it was cool.
Just days earlier, on March 5th, 2016, security video obtained by CNN appears to show Combs assaulting Cassie in the hallway of the Intercontinental Hotel. The video captures multiple angles and shows Combs running down the hallway in a white towel before hitting, kicking, and dragging her out of the frame. Cassie also detailed the physical abuse she endured during her relationship with Combs in a federal lawsuit filed in November. In the since settled suit, she also recounts an instance in March 2016 where Combs became, quote, extremely intoxicated and punched Miss Ventura in the face, giving her a black eye. On March 4th, 2016, just one day prior, Cassie spoke to Hip Hollywood about her role in the film The Perfect Match and appeared excited about this new chapter in her professional life, all while masking a dark secret in her personal one.
Was there any indication when you were doing the interview that something wasn't right?
Absolutely not. I had just talked to her on March 4th. So the day before the alleged assault happened in the hotel, she was in great spirits, talking about this new movie that she was doing, putting out music possibly. If you remember too, Bad Boy, the reunion tour had just been announced. So there was a lot of good things going on in her life. So she seemed so happy. So just days later on the carpet, I don't think any of us knew that this was happening behind the scenes with her and Diddy, and she gave zero indication. I mean, she was bubbly and excited and talkative and happy. I think I really want to express that she was very happy, and I think that that's what victims can look like as well, right? Like, they don't have to be sad or have a demeanor that would mean that something's going on. I feel like she masked it very well.
You saw no marks, no bruises on her whatsoever. You didn't see any of that.
I didn't see anything. I will say that I pointed out, because again, I had just seen her days before. It looked like she had just come from vacation. So I was like, oh, you're so bronze. Like, you look so, you got this glow going on. Like, she had this body shimmer going on. So I did notice that, and I made mention of it at the top of the interview. And she was like, yeah, that's just kind of what we're going for tonight or something. She said.
Okay. So I had to give this some context. Because in the statement, she said that he was extremely intoxicated and that he gave her a black eye. Now, here's a person, Jasmine Simpkins, I believe her name was, who interviewed her on the red carpet a day after. And you don't see any bruises, not a black eye. It had me to thinking. And I'm going to be very, very mindful, because I don't want to, get my words miss words and say something as if I'm leaning towards P. Diddy, because again, nothing can convince me that his behavior is justifiable. But here's my thing. She's been with this man for 15 years. 15 years. And I'm quite sure this wasn't the first time that he's done this. I'm quite sure that he's also done this to Kim Porter, may God rest her soul. So again, no one is protecting his sadistic behavior as far as I'm concerned. I think any man that put his hands on a woman need to have his head examined. I did say the other day on Monday, now there is certain reasons why you can shake a woman to get her back to her senses. That's if she's striking you with some type of weapon. You got to defend yourself, and you got to give her a little, hey, get yourself together, but never to hit her in the face and abuse her. Not like that. But after seeing this right here, I started to think 15 years of dealing with this darkness, this masqueraded secret that she had, obviously. And I understand, she could have been afraid all those years. She was young when she got with him. He's this guy, this image, this brand. He had this power, or he was empowering, and all this stuff that goes along with it. It just makes me say, how do you transition from being so bubbly as Jasmine? This is not my words. This is the reporter words. Being so bubbly, and you gave no indication, especially after you see the video. So it makes me wonder in my mind, women who are with these type of men, what are they actually thinking? What are they actually considering? Because is it about the fame and the fortune and the money? A lot of times it is, because everybody, they come with something. For you to stay in a relationship that long and take that kind of abuse, then you're worshiping the money just like he's worshiping the money. My only thing about his apology is I'm reminded of something in Islam, and it went like this, that we are aware of. That was way back over 1,040 plus years ago. Muhammad the Prophet, he came across a Muslim who had killed a man, and it got back to him that he took this man's life. And the Muslim who killed him took his life because he declared his faith openly, and he was a known hypocrite. Okay, and he said that right before he got ready to kill him, the man said, there is only one God, and Muhammad is his messenger. So that was his declaration of faith. But the Muslim killed him anyway. So when he got back to Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may God's peace and blessing be upon him, he said, why did you kill him? And he looked at him and said, because he only said that so I wouldn't kill him. And you know what the prophet said? He said, how do you know? How do you know? Did you cut open his heart to see if he was sincere? So what I'm saying is this. I'm not here to judge whether if he's sincere or insincere. It's kind of like the O.J. Simpson thing in a way. We wasn't there. And the way the evidence comes out is the way the evidence come out. They acquitted the man got off, but then that was still, holding public opinion that he killed Nicole. In this situation, I'm simply saying he said he was in a dark place. He simply said that he was there was no condone for his behavior, and he mentioned God and grace. Now, once you mention God, and once you put grace behind it, and you ask God for his mercy, see, me, I can't speak for everybody else. For me, that judgment is between him and God. Because one thing you cannot do, you can't fool God. That's one thing you cannot do is fool God. So I have no knife to cut him open to say he was sincere or not sincere. My problem, again, I'm not here to defend Diddy. My problem is simply this, Tim, is when I look out in society, I see all of the hypocrites. The hypocrites. And everybody got something to say. You understand? And I know there are men that are sitting there talking when you know you to put your hand on a woman. You know you have. But everybody's condemning, just piling on. I don't know, again, I don't have a heaven or a hell to put him in. I just know he asked for God's mercy. So when you ask for the mercy, after that, man, I'm not going to do I'm not going to put myself in God's seat. I may formulate my own opinion. I'll hold dear to that. You know what I'm saying? I probably would agree, like, well, I don't know how sincere he is. I will formulate my own internal opinion. But before I go public and say that, see, because I can't do God's job. And then believers have to be careful too. Let me remind people, believers have to be careful. Because when you put yourself in God's seat, now you're judging. That's why Tupac said years ago, only God can judge it. Because again, I don't have a heaven or hell to put him in. I don't know if he's sincere. I can only go by the hadith and the tradition of Islam. Because when the prophets asked me, he said, well, how do you know? Did you cut him open? How do you know? When he took that testimony and he testified that there was only one God, how did you know whether he was lying or not? So again, that was my only issue, because I was hearing people just, I don't believe, and this. And I said, I don't know. But go ahead, Tim.
I love your analogy that you use, and I'll say this to that in my thought process on it. When I say $1 late, $1 short, I don't question his sincerity. That's not for me to question, right? And I don't question his grace, his God, between him and God. Right. And so that's a beautiful thing. When he finds that, what I question is that he did it at the time he did it. And so by doing that and doing it public, because when he made it public, he made it to the public. And so to that, the public ain't gonna like it. It's $1 late and $1 short to the public. And so his apology to the public is that. Now, what he had between him and Cassidy, if he actually already apologized to her, we don't know that. People are saying like he didn't apologize to her. Why are you saying that? You don't know what communication he's had with her, especially since they had a settlement too. He might have had to do a settlement. He might have to do an apology for the settlement to move forward too. That may be an apology in that. We don't know that because that's closed books too. So there's elements of information that we don't even have privy to. So I won't jump to any conclusion on that. I'll just jump to what I see and what he actually did. Came from his mouth and his words, and it came at a time after the video came out, right? Yeah. And he started to do it publicly. So I'll just address the public part because he did a public apology and he didn't address her. He just addressed, right? So with that, that's to the public. If you're just addressing just generally, and letting people know how he feel on the inside. I don't question how you feel on the inside either. I'm just saying $1 late, $1 short because of how the public feel about it, right? So
because and I hear you loud and clear as far as the timeline because I was in a conversation earlier and we was discussing, well, he only came out and said it because now the video was out, right? That's for public consumption, right? Right. And then his motive behind saying that after he had denied doing anything, I said, well, when you think about it, I said he already settled for $30 million. Now, $30 million is $30 million. Either way you slicing the dice, that's a lot of money. You know, that's more than an apology. If somebody don't give me $30 million, keep your apology, give me that 30 mil. I'm just being honest with you. So I don't think he was thinking along those lines. I think he was really just trying to get out the fact that I was in a dark space at that time. She said that he had been drinking, he was intoxicated. I just found the inconsistencies that she said she had a black eye. And even if you covered up with makeup, it seemed like you would see something. But this young lady, Jasmine, said she was just coming off a vacation. She said she looked very bronzy, and I didn't see anything that, out of the ordinary on those videos, right? So again, I'm not saying that it's still justifiable whatever happened because the video is out there. I just don't know how you go turn it off and turn it on like that. Because if you've been in a relationship with a woman and there's something that she's pissed off about, maybe she found an extra phone number in your pocket or some lipstick on your shirt or whatever, and you trying to go to sleep with her that night, she ain't feeling you, brother. She ain't feeling you. For him to do what he did for the world to see, and you can still walk that carpet and smile and bubble it, that takes a lot. And I'm not saying that you can't masquerade it that way, but there's also other motives, in terms of this fame.
Now you get into it. Check this out. Now you get into it right there. That motivation is what allows her to go ahead and do the acting part. The motivation, one, the fear. There's a fear there, but also there's a motivation to keep the lifestyle of whatever goals that she has. So she has to stay within that realm to reach those goals. So we don't know how great the fear. There are many women who have known fear, but in that fear, they feel like they couldn't escape. All the stories and the words I've heard from women, some have been captured. They wouldn't let them out because they would escape. But the ones who've been released and come back, they have a mental hold on those people, and those people want to keep whatever lifestyle it is that's going on, whatever motivation they have that's going on, and they fear of the consequences of actually getting away from it. And so whether it's not just with the person and the fear of them harming them, sometimes they can move past that, but sometimes the other part of it, hey, what's better out here and what I'm going to be left with? I'm going to be destitute and my career is going to be over. All the goals and things that I have going to be missing. And he keep convincing me, with his words that everything's going to be all right and we're going to keep moving forward and nothing ever happens. It just stays the same. His actions stay the same until she finally decides to have enough courage to get out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to my boy Byron, BJ Byron Jackson, man. Thank you for joining us. He come in and he said, in his response, he said, let me put it up here so y'all can see the comment. He said, no, it's about the fear and control that an abuser has over the victim. It's Hollywood. Makeup artists covered her up. I worked with domestic violence victims for years through CPS. The first thing we're trained to do is to get the mom and children to a safe place. The last thing we do is question why she stayed, etc. To re-victimize the victims that have been coached. She did what she had to do to survive. I champion her. Absolutely, BJ. And I don't disagree with your assessment of it. And it's sad. When you think about it, Tim, it's real sad. Oh, let me go. He had another one here. He said, ask the makeup artists who face beat how they cover up. Women every day out of fear cover it up. We work with victims and have victims in our face. Yeah, and I was just gonna say, and that's the sad part about the whole thing is that the fear. We talk about the fear factor. We talk about the fame of it all, and then you got to look there and stand there as if it's all masquerade. It's all a performance. It's an act. Meanwhile, you're internally dying inside. And so I do definitely get that part of it. My whole thing is just that, again, I don't stand in God's place, BJ. I don't stand in God's place, Tim, because I don't know what's in his heart. I don't. And I don't think any of us can say. Now, we can formulate our own opinions on the judgment, whatever the case may be. But that's a close game that I'm willing not to play. Because whatever's in his heart, God already know it, because you can't fool God. You can't. You can't. It's kind of like when Smokey had the song. Remember back in the day, he said, if you look closer, it's easy to trace the tracks of my tears. You got to look closer. You know what I'm saying? Because they say the eyes are the windows to the soul. And so when I was looking at it, I looked at it several times in his apology. And I know sometimes it's not you know, some people want it to be said like this or he left some. They're gonna pick it apart, absolutely. But all I know is I heard mercy, God, and mercy. Now, for me as a believer in the Most High God, that's where I have to draw the line. I'll have my own opinion, as I stated. I'm 10 toes down in Team Cassie or any woman who have to go through such demoralizing, embarrassing feat, man, just because we have a disagreement. You know, it's been long talked about. But I also say too, when R. Kelly was going through his situation, and they had the Me Too movement, that would have been a great opportunity for the Cassie to come out. I'm kind of like, you know, I don't want to put myself in her position because I know she was young. I know there's a lot going on, but when do the soul become so oppressed until it starts yielding out? I guess everything has a timeline. But I'll tell you this regarding the tape situation, right? The tape situation stems from, and I stand 10 toes on this. The tape stimulates from either the Homeland Security, either finding that tape. Now there's a theory that it was only one tape he paid $50,000 because she said that in her deposition that he gave $50,000 to suppress the tape, and it was only one tape, but she had a copy of the tape. Somewhere in between there, the Homeland Security leaked the tape to CNN. And I'm not talking from just pure speculation. I've already know how these people work, having to deal with them at one time. They leaked that because they're doing the same thing, or will be doing the same thing to Diddy as they did to R. Kelly. First, you got to get the public opinion weighed in on it, because more than likely they got a bunch of circumstantial evidence right now, unless they really go through those tapes. Because what they're really looking for is like pandering, human trafficking, drugs, perhaps all this, you know, all of this ecstasy pills and all this stuff being down there in Miami. When they get the preponderance of the evidence, now all gloves come off. Right now, it's more circumstantial evidence. So they say, first, let's do what we did to R. Kelly. We're going to ruin him in front of public viewing. That's just a tactic. It's a strategy. That's what they do. So, you know, I do strong. That's why you see a crowd. I know how to spell. If y'all looking at the scroll at the bottom, I say P Diddy. I didn't say P Diddy. I put the B up there for a reason, because in that BID, that's a bid. When you do a bid, when you go to federal, that's what you're gonna be doing is a bid. So it's gonna be P Diddy. So that's why I put it that way. But go ahead though, Tim.
Two things, and before I get to what you're talking about as well, too. Well, let me hit that first, because you just talked about it. Thinking about, you know, who did P. Diddy anger? Who did he get it out with? Who did he have a problem with? Something happened. Okay, so for them to go ahead and for home security to start to get into all his business, him and somebody higher up are at differences. So some stuff is going on with that, because they decided now to move forward on some things they could have moved forward on a long time ago. And so they're pulling this together. So at some point, somebody got an outing for them to start pulling all this stuff together and to go because of what's going on. Or it's because he was already getting to somebody else and they want to use him, the pawn, to get to somebody else. So you know, it's one or two of those type of things going on. But hidden spiritually with this and with women, what I want to talk to all our families out there with daughters and mothers and sisters and aunties and cousins and all our people and friends, we got to learn better discernment. We got to discern when we see wolves in sheep clothing or a situation that compromises our well-being. And we got to not be so caught up in gaining money, wealth, or just trying to be a part of crowd because they're famous and you can, you know, just because. We got to be careful in that stuff. We gotta see these type of things. I know many people who have seen a wolves in sheep clothing and still went forward and came back. I'm talking about good, smart, intelligent people, and came back and said, I knew that was a wolf. I saw they had devil horns and everything. The energy said it, right? We got to trust that energy when we feel it. Felt that energy, yet I went ahead anyway. Why they went ahead? Use your motivations because they was getting something that they value. They gave them something they value, and it continued. They felt like it was going to continue to give them some value, and these people turned out to be exactly who they thought they were, right? Then we got some situation we're naive. We're going to naive situation as well too. Hey, let's talk to our young ladies. We need to let them know, hey, don't put yourself in these compromising positions. And then because man, the stories they got around that, man, is just so crazy. But you know what? Women volunteer for this stuff now. So who's to say, you know, there's so many women that volunteer, want to be a part of these things. I know of and heard of women being a part of these things and liking it. So, and we know it from the videos and stuff that's out everywhere, right? These OnlyFans videos and all this kind of stuff that's going on. So there's women out there that's choosing these type of behaviors as well, too. That's the sad part about it. And then they regret it years after. Choose better.
Yeah. Now you said choose better. Choose better. But again, I want to make sure that that I'm transparent in what I'm saying in the position that I'm taking, because again, I'm chatting here with my guy BJ regarding the act itself. And again, no one is disagreeing that he's guilty as charged. There's no way to get around the video. So that's not the there's no question in that. I'm just simply talking about all of the hypocrites. And there's so many that I feel are hypocrites that sit there. You know, it's like when Jesus was able to say, he without sin, let him cast the first stone. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not even, listen, let me be clear in my words. I'm not even talking about Diddy in this situation. Let's just put him to the sideline right quick. I'm just simply addressing those individuals, and you know who you are, you know what you have done, and you know what you continue to do. You weighing in now. But have you looked in the mirror lately? Because I guarantee you, he's not the only one, but we know the evidence, because you know, Michelle Lay, she was screaming for years about Dr. Dre, right? So it is what it is, and I'm cool with that. Whatever comes down, I think he's you know, he's done so much more decadence. His soul has been tormented. He's worked out the evenness of what evenness is. You're talking about swing parties. You're talking about homosexual. Listen, man, usually where there's smoke, there's fire. If you say something about my name, bro, I'm coming to see you. I don't care who you is, especially when I know that's not me, because I've done it on many occasions before. So for you to allow this to ride this long, and you got sons, you got boys, you got young men that you say you was raising, and they got this circling around your door with all these acts. Come on, man. Come on. So yeah, I have my opinion. Don't get me wrong. I'm only acknowledging me. I'm talking about me, Jabril Rashad. I'm talking about me. I just don't step in God's judgment seat, you know, because He is the one that's going to judge us all. And I am also reminded that it says in Scripture that if God were to remove the creature from the earth by one act that it has done, that it wouldn't be one person left on this earth. Think about that for a second. If He were to punish each individual by the sins that they've done, it wouldn't be one person left on this earth. That's powerful, brother. That's powerful. So that's what I'm talking about. Forget Diddy, because he's going to get what's coming to him. That's why, again, I got this thing. I know how this is going to play out. Yeah, he's going to get an indictment. Do I wish that on the brother? No, but sometimes when God has something for you in store, you know, this life is fleeting. We're not going to be here forever. So maybe he go in and he get himself together. Because the future is always longer than the past. It's always longer than the past. So if he can go in there and really sincerely turn his life around, whichever direction he chooses to go, whether it's Judaism, Islam, Christianity, or whatever, which way he decides to go, that's between him and his creator. That's all I'm saying. I just get amazed by people, though. People. That's all. Have your opinion all day long. I'm not here to say, you know, whether if you're wrong or right in your assessment. I'm just cautioning people to be careful. Just be careful, because He ain't gonna fool God. God already know what you done did and have done and continue to do and everything else, because He got a long rap sheet. But every day, bro, I fast for 30 days in the month of Ramadan and then some. And I'm on my road, my prayer road 5 times a day, giving up my sins, man, because I know I'm not perfect, but I strive in the imperfectness to be perfect. You understand what I'm saying? When you can acknowledge when you're wrong and you got mistakes, God knows my heart, man. God knows my heart. But again, I'm not condoning nothing that He did. So let's don't get that, you know, wrong. I'm simply saying it just amazes me when I look at certain people who chimed in, like the Luke Skywalker. Y'all came out here with this get it, degrading women, putting them all on the front album covers, and just it's enough to go around, brother. That's what I'm talking about. It's enough to go around. You degrade. Y'all been degrading women, calling them bees and whore. You think it's levels to this. But how is God looking at it though? See, how is God looking at it? So he ain't the only one. Been a whole lot. You know, like Solange. She didn't attack Jay-Z for nothing on that elevator. There's been a lot of abuse going around where they've been derobing women, deflowering women, disrespecting women, cursing women. You can't do this in the Jewish community. You can't do this in the Arab community. You can't do this in the Asian community. We're the only people that makes it okay to degrade our women like that. Don't they know and realize that paradise awaits at every woman's feet? But then again, you see the women, look at them. You don't take the jacket off for them. They walk around here calling each other BITCHs. And it's supposed to be some enduring term that they use toward one another. So, black woman, when have you degraded yourself? Did God make you that, or did the world make you that? See, we all got some judgment coming, some judgment days coming, and we got to answer for those things. That's why I worry about what's in my house. I worry about what's not just in my physical house. I'm talking about in my spiritual house, inside my internal mind, my internal soul, my internal body. That's what I'm concerned with. So again, I can't judge from another man's perspective nor another woman's perspective because I'm too concerned about the day what we call the day of Maliki Yom Midin, the day that when one soul will not avail of another. It ain't gonna matter what you say on that day because your hand's gonna speak out against your brother and sister. So again, I just caution. That's it. That's it. I'm just cautioning. I'm not gonna do God's job. That's a mighty job to do. So, but anyway, man, we can stay on this.
I know. I'm gonna hit this real quick. You know, you gotta have some values. The problem with right now, I don't know if enough people have values. But if you have values, you gotta quit compromising. They keep compromising their values for things that actually and it ain't nothing wrong for reaching for glory and actually striving for wealth and family, you know, doing things for family, having a family legacy and all that kind of stuff, but not at the compromising the values. See, when you compromise your values, you get into situations that you didn't know you was gonna get into because you move into that dark tunnel. See, when you compromise your values, all of a sudden you're in a situation that you ain't never known you would be before. Soon as you have that thought process, when you started thinking that you compromising your values, is a time that actually the darkness comes to you. And you wonder, how did I get in this storm, right? And so then that storm comes, and then sometimes people don't know how to keep going through. You know, like the buffalo. The buffalo, what they do is when a storm comes, the buffalo goes right at the storm, right? So when you compromise your value, you don't go at the storm. You get lost in the storm because you already compromised your value and you don't find your way. But that buffalo, or you try to run away from the storm keeps coming with you because the storm is faster than you and it'll keep enveloping you. And it takes longer. So now you get all the storm. The buffalo goes towards the storm, and it's tough to get through the storm when it's all strong, but the buffalo gets to the other side much quicker. Right? This is a true story about buffalo. So when you're in the midst of the storm and you got your values right, God is with you. God's going to bring it, and it may even seem stronger, but God's going to bring you through, and you'll come out the other side more quickly, and you will become stronger because actually you face the storm head on. So let's go out there and face our storms head on, quit running for things, and then keep your values and quit compromising.
Right. What I said, you know, like I said, when God intends something for you, he'll touch you with something. As I'm reminded of scripture when it says, when trouble touches a man, he pray on all sides, asking for God's forgiveness and all this. But as soon as God removed the storm, he goes on his very way as if he never asked God for nothing at all. That's powerful. As soon as God removed the storm, he goes on his very way. Again, this life is fleeting, man. It's fleeting. So I'd rather know that, you know, that paradise awaits me, man, and I'm trying to get in the Jannah. I'm trying to get into paradise, heaven, or whichever language that you use, and knowing that I got to, you know, straighten my act up, because that type of conduct and behavior, it won't enter into paradise. Paradise is too clean. It ain't gonna enter with the filth that this world has given. But let me shout out, man, Josh Stevenson, man. Big shout out to Josh, man, who's joining us this evening. For those of y'all who are joining us, this is the replay where we try to make your day. Don't forget to hit the subscribe, like, and share, and notification button. But Josh said, all this is bigger than Cassie. This is just the start of something big. I do concur, Josh. I do concur. I believe it's way bigger than Cassie. But it is what it is. I do agree with my man BJ Byron when he said that you know, it is what it is, and it is what it is. It's bigger than her, but it's like a chess. You know, I read this book years ago about the pawn of the chess, right? It's like everything in military war. It's all strategized. And here we go again. But there is a cycle because a lot of this, man, you can't kick the can down the street. You have to be accountable and accept responsibility. You know, individuals who've been doing this and been getting away with it, getting away with it, getting away with it, and getting away with it. Now it's like judgment day. Now it's time to pay the piper, as they say, because you didn't learn your lesson back then. You didn't learn your lesson when the shooting happened with Jay Lopez, and then Shine took that rap. You didn't learn your lesson when all those kids got stumped at that concert they gave and people died, and that you didn't learn then. You didn't learn when Kim Porter, man, you broke her nose on that boat and so forth. There's a lot to be learned out of the situation. All I'm simply saying is once an individual brings God and that mercy, but it goes to that verse. See, God is very clear in his scripture. He says it. When trouble touches a man or a woman for that matter, they lay on all their sides, asking for God's help, asking for his forgiveness and everything else. But as soon as he removes the trouble, they go on their very way as if they never asked God for nothing at all. And that's the nature of the human being, man. So again, it's time to, it's judgment day. It's judgment day. I just wanted to, comment on it because, and speak on it, not in the defense of Diddy, but to remind people of public opinion, public consumption of what's going on, and then even how the media sometimes does, especially when it comes to us. See, we got to do better. We keep talking about it. Yes, we need a new normalcy. We got to do better. We got to do better. We got to protect our sisters. We got to protect their image, their character. But the problem is, it's about self-preservation. Everybody got to take a look in the mirror, including the women, because they have degraded themselves. So again, man, you can't see when you oppress a woman, you oppress yourself, and when you oppress yourself, you oppress society because she's the womb that bears. And society is nothing but a womb, a big old womb. So you got to raise the woman up. But the woman done forgot her morals and her values, her integrity. So again, man, this is we have to be re-educated all over again. We have to be re-educated all over again. But Tim, we gotta change
the segue, man.
Because man, this is one of them deals where we could have had a whole 1 hour show just on this topic alone.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. But what we got to get into right quick, man, we got the culture part coming up. Y'all just hanging there, stay with us because the other thing, it was actually dealing with the women. We talking about it, but I want to bring it up after I shout these boys out, man. Big shout out to my Dallas Mavericks, man, who took out the Denver Nuggets. Excuse me. Let me start over. Who took out OKC.
Oklahoma City.
Yes. Yeah, Oklahoma City, man. I had the series going 4-1, but I said if OKC win one game, I said I'd give him one in there, but I felt like the Mavericks was going to definitely win that series, man. So, Tim, what was your take on it, man, when you saw how we played, man?
It's funny how the energy of Dallas is when they come through. One thing about it, they show resolve. More than anything else, through this whole thing, they show resolve. They've had time where they died and where they weren't playing well. Like the first quarter, and really almost the first half, they weren't playing that well, but yet they kept the game within shooting distance, you could say, right? They kept it within close enough that actually they could do something. In the second half, they came back from 17 points. So that resolve. So both of the team that coming up, we'll talk about that later, has resolve as well too. So you talking about a team that has resolve, has fought against consequences. When they lost that first game in the series, everybody counted the Mavericks out because they got blew out. They said Mavericks gone. It was already counting that the Mavericks were going to be playing Minnesota. I mean, not the Mavericks, but Oklahoma City's going to be playing Minnesota. Now, you and me had to resolve. We're like, that's one game. Dallas going to come back, and I said 42, and you had said 41. So Dallas ended up doing it 42. But it could have been 41 if they had finished off that game on the fourth game where they had the lead and didn't hold on to it because the guys started missing shots at the end of the game. The two best players missed shots in game 4. Otherwise, they could have won that game, won it in 5. So Dallas got that ability. They got everything they need. It's going to be a tough game coming up. But Oklahoma City fought really hard. Man, they swarmed their defense. Yeah, they had long arms and they tipped balls and all kind of stuff. Turned the ball over a lot because of how well they was chasing after people as well too. So I give them competitive. I can understand why Mavericks respected them and said, hey, this was a tough series for us because how competitive Oklahoma City was. They was the number 1 seed too. People forget about that. The number 1 seed.
Yeah, I think they definitely are a year away. They probably could use one more scorer or one more big man anyway, because I think Chet Holmgren, man, he just needs to get a little bit stronger. But I think they're ahead of schedule. They're a very young team, but they played lights out, man, and gave the Mavericks all that they could handle. At the end of the day, I just felt like, and I still feel like I think the Mavericks gonna win it all. Had they played Denver, had they played Minnesota, because I think this team is kind of set up like the 2011 team. They got the number one defense within the past month and a half. They got two closers. You know, the difference between their closers and everybody else's closers, I've already said it, is that these boys got the ball in their hand. They got the ball in their hand. Luka and Kyrie Irving has the ball in their hand. When you got to get it to a guy like Joker or get it to a guy like Karl Anthony Towns, you know, you got to get it to them. These dudes don't have to do it. They can ISO, they can pass, they can facilitate, they can rebound. I mean, they deep, man. They got a strong defense, two catalyst 7'1" centers, man. I just think people are really taking the Mavericks for granted, as if all of a sudden, you know, Minnesota knocked off Denver and automatically they're gonna get into the finals. I just don't see it that way. So big shout out to OKC. I think the Mavericks, man, is gonna take down Minnesota 4-2 as well, and they're gonna be in the finals. And I think we're gonna bring it back home, man. I really believe that. I really believe that.
You know what's funny? If you did man for man and start at the beginning of the season, and you took Minnesota starting five, and you took Dallas starting five, you did man for man. Dallas win one with the Kyrie, who he set up with the point guard, right? And then you take Luke and Edwards, they nullify each other. And the other three guys, everybody would have took Minnesota's guy, right? And so
right.
If you look at that, you would say, oh yeah, that's why people are so they see real quick, because Minnesota's big, tall. You got Rudy Gobert, who's the defensive player of the year. You're talking about Karl Anthony Towns, who said he was the best shooting power forward to ever play the game, over Dirk as well, and many other people. So he pronounced himself as that, right? And then of course McDaniels, who's the first round pick, is considered better than our guy DJ. So DJJ. So he considered better than him.
Jerry Jones.
Yeah, Derrick Jones. So Jay McDaniels was better than him, right?
By the way, he was a key component in that game of the night, man. He had 22 points for series. But go ahead, Tim.
Yeah.
My problem.
So, and Jaden McDaniels was the key for Minnesota winning this game. He scored 25 for them. That's his best he's ever scored in the playoffs as well, too. So both of them had their highs in the playoffs. So that's going to be a good battle, man. Both of them Jaden McDaniels probably going to guard Luka, and Derrick Jones is probably going to guard Edwards. So that battle is going to be nice. I mean, it's going to be a real good series, what goes on. But I tell you, like you said, I believe Dallas is going to win 4-2 myself. And I think they're going to move on to I feel the same way. They're going to win the championship this year. But it's going to be a battle the whole way. And it all depends on a lot if Luke can stay healthy and those guys quit banging his knee like they was doing in the previous series.
Right.
Yeah, they knocked him down and tripped him a lot.
Yeah, we got to segue though, Tim. We switching over to this Denver game real quick. Denver, I can't say enough about Minnesota. They show a lot of resolve. It comes down. It was 20 down in the third quarter. Denver lost the game in the third quarter. They hung in there, man. They showed resolve, man, and kept going at it, and to eventually wore down Denver. And they was fatigued. They took all the energy out of them, man. So big shout out to Minnesota. I had Minnesota winning this game 7, and but I don't have them beat my Mavs though. So that was a big shout out to Minnesota. What was your take on that game right there?
That third quarter, that 34-9 run they made in the third quarter by Minnesota. How Minnesota just slowly, like you know how you die by 1,000 cuts. They just were cutting them up in that third quarter, just cut after cut until they finally wore them down and then took over. They was down 1 point going to fourth, and then boom, they took over the whole game and took it over from there. Just took their heart out of Murray, and Murray had been talking noise, and so Edwards is back at him. Edwards didn't even play that well. Cat played really well, and Daniels played really well. And actually, Gobert played pretty good too. So
yeah, he only had 16 points. But let me shout Josh out
on the second half.
Hold on for a second. Let me shout Josh out right quick because he said Kyrie is the key to the Mavericks winning it all. They need to run more and post up Luka more. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Josh. I think Kyrie is definitely, man. I think he is the catalyst, man, that's spurring this team on. I think as far as the way Kyrie goes, I think the Mavericks will go. His leadership, both on and off the court, but he's going to have to bring more in this series. I don't think he can just lay back the way he did in the OKC series, but we shall see. I want to see him, man. Average them points like we know he can go off at any time. First, second quarter, do what he got to do. But yeah, I think Kyrie is on a mission. I think he's proven a point. All of the his naysayers, his critics, and everybody that was doubting him that he's a true champion. And I can't say enough about Kyrie Irving, what he's meant to the Dallas Mavericks since the trade from last year.
Hey, check this out. Guess who they say Ed was going to be guarding? Edward said himself. He said he's going to be guarding
Kyrie.
Yeah,
I heard.
That's going to be interesting because I don't, hey, he actually plays real good defense. He hustles really hard, but keeping up with Kyrie, yeah, he going to tax him. And if he really guard him the whole game and Kyrie go in and turn it up, because I think if he guards Kyrie needs to take over a lot more, right? Don't sit and wait if he's guarding you. If he's going to guard him, then Kyrie needs to run him off of kicks, all kind of stuff, drive him down low, work the heck out of him. Make him get off of Kyrie. Make Conley get back on him, Mike Conley.
Yeah.
Because Edwards, Kyrie should let him get off easy for guarding him. That's going to be a real good key.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. They pulled it out though, 98-90, man. Big shout out again to Minnesota. And if Ant-Man want to go up against Kyrie, I'm quite sure Kyrie is looking forward to the matchup because he definitely ain't gonna back down. Kyrie, in fact, I'm glad he called Kyrie out because that means Kyrie's gonna bring his A game. I truly believe that. But that dude he's just a magician with that basketball. But let's do this here, man. Again, big shout out for those who are joining us. This is the replay. Don't forget to hit the subscribe, like, and share button. Our guy, D.A. Alexander the Great, he has some technical difficulties. I know he hates not being on here, but shout out to our brother, man. But we got to get into this because we normally do his fast 60 seconds track coming up on this hour right here before we conclude the show. But he's not here, so we got to go in a different direction. So what we're going to do, just to help segue us back into what we want to talk about the women and the pretenders. I say women, are they the pretenders? So this is the episode we're going to show right here. Okay, guys, this is Jabril's Q&A. So what we're going to talk about is a video I'm about to play regarding the women. It was kind of funny, man, because there was some other videos where they had these guys was coming home early from work, going inside their house and finding their wives with other men while they had, at work all day long. But I wanted to play this video because they was talking about the other woman and the jump off and all of that. But let's see if we can't find some Jews in this. Check this video out.
Belong to white men. Yes or no? Do Hispanic women act like they belong to Hispanic men?
Absolutely.
Do Asian women act like they belong to Asian men?
Definitely.
Do Middle Eastern women act like they belong to Middle Eastern men?
Yes.
Do black women act like they belong to black men?
By and large, no. But
the fact that you have to even put a modifier on there says you are still conflicted with the reality you are seeing.
Women will go out here and let a nigga them raw without putting no ring on it, nothing. But you draw the line and making a sandwich for a man. What in the is going on?
On TikTok, there's this married couple who has a large following, a very popular page. Her content is very warm, kind of more domestic, cooking for her family, cooking from scratch. Once it got to Instagram, something as simple and plain as someone making cinnamon rolls for their husband, they tore it to shreds. And that just got me to thinking, only a miserable person could see a video about a woman making her husband cinnamon rolls and have something nasty and hateful and negative to say about it.
We've dated the men who worked at Walmart. We've dated Kroger. We've dated drug dealers. We've dated scammers. We've dated these men. Just because he make $12, $13, $14, $15 an hour, y'all, that does not mean he's faithful. Stick to your script, sis.
So what's happening is, like, a lot of women are negating their options. The real life option is the option in your face. So when you go to the grocery store, when you go to church, when you go wherever you're going in your life, whoever that man is, whoever that woman is, that is your real life option. A lot of women say I want a husband, but do they think about, do you really want to be a wife? Like, a wife really is a job.
It is going to come down to women checking women and getting you guys straight. We cannot fix you because you have no respect for us. You only respect each other. And if we can't rely on the educated of you and the intelligent of you and the learned of you to at least be honest, black men will sit back saying, who the fuck can we rely on? Women.
Okay, so the question is, this is my Q&A. The question is, Tim, and those who are on with us this evening, you want to chat out, please do. But the question is, are these women, or some women, I'm not going to say all, I'm always reminding myself, it's not all inclusive, women, are they the great pretenders? And what I simply mean by that, Tim, you heard some of the women talking in the video, and this conversation was actually brought up yesterday evening. I was watching something, they was talking about how some of the women who've gone through certain relationships, then when you get them, they don't want to do, they want to marry you, but they done all that they was doing on the come up. But now when they get you supposed to have taken them out of whatever the situation they was in prior to. Now they get you and they want to change. So the brother was saying, no, don't change for me. Don't. Now, I thought it was funny. He said, don't change for me. The same thing you was doing before, I want that too. You know what I'm saying? So again, I had to put up the question on my Q&A. Is the women, some of them, or a great majority, you can have whatever the numbers may be. I didn't get a chance to research that, but do you think they're great pretenders, Tim?
Woo, man. The ones that are online talking, yes. Because there's so many of them. It's majority, it's more women speaking in this tone that we just watched online than it is women that's actually silent. You know, too many women are silent. They've been silent for too long. So he hit it on the head saying, hey, you got to address each other. I have seen a little turn now. Some women are coming in starting to say, hey, you women that's doing all this talking, y'all wrong. They have to do more of it because right now the women who are doing most talking out here or has set up an agenda. They saying black men are worth it. They saying the average black man, they don't even want the average black man, right? I am blessed that I know me and you are not. But we got brothers. We have cousins. We have family members. You guys have brothers and cousins and family members and uncles and all that. And you telling other people, you saying out loud to the world that black men ain't worth it. You are a pretender if you saying black men not worth it. You're raising children. You're raising men and you telling those men that you raising that they ain't worth it. You know, right, you say, hey, you don't value their character. You don't value their moral fiber. You don't value them working towards things because it takes a while for a man to reach the goal that most of these women want. Most of these women don't have it. They don't have it. They don't even have the money they're talking about. So they want it in the men and they don't have it themselves. Most of them speaking don't have the money. So the numbers are still there. The men make more than women. It ain't even close. So that's still there, right? So men out earn women, and it's still going on. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the average guy, and we're talking about the women who want to either be more than them or the women that are. And the women that are, they're having a hard time finding men. So now they all disgruntled and they angry at men because they can't find a man because they're looking for the wrong thing. You're pretending because you're not focused on the things that actually make a successful relationship. You want to be married, but you don't want to be a wife. There's a difference. Being a wife is caring for your man, looking after your man, taking care of your man, because he's going to take care of you. That works reciprocal. But you got to be taking care of your man. You got to be willing. When there's a plate to be made, you go make his plate. You want provision, but you don't want to go make his plate? Please, get out of here with that. I remember we was talking one time, we were doing our other show, and somebody was talking about not making a plate. I'm like, you must be crazy. You're not going to be my wife, you ain't going to make my plate. You're not being my wife, you're not going to make my plate. I don't need a wife. I can go on. I can find many other people who don't want to be a wife and make my plate at the same time. So be a wife, don't just be married.
Right. Well, you know, we definitely talked about that. For those of y'all don't know what Tim was talking about, you know, we was doing the show for almost 2 years, Metaphors of Love, Are You Listening? Where we would talk about these particular relationships, and we would use classic R&B songs and break down the metaphors as it relates to the relationship aspect of it. But we can almost circle back. I think this conversation still connects with the P. Diddy the Puffy Combs and Cassie situation in a lot of ways, because now, once again, you got us being the poster child of domestic violence. You know what I'm saying? Whether you want to go way back to Ike and Tina Turner, to Ray Rice and the situation with him. Why is it that we have to be the poster child for everything that's going on that plays America, right? Do you think that African American people are the only one who have been involved in domestic violence? But for whatever reason, when we do something, it gets broadcast all for the world to see, all for the world to see, right? And so this particular topic where we're talking about the women being the great pretenders, kind of like what Kevin Samuel was saying toward the end, you all have to fix you all. And that's so true, because it's about self-management. See, I can't manage anybody until I learn how to self-manage myself first. See, that's the key component in all of this. So how can I come to you on the real, as they say? We're talking about being real with one another, being transparent with one another, right? How can I even come to you when I don't even know my own identity? When I haven't even researched my own identity? That's a very hard thing to do. And time again, we put on this facade and we become a charlatan, excuse me, and pretending like we who I guess if you on online dating, you know, we giving these false profiles, if you will. And it's not a real profile. Men do it, women do it, you know, it happens on both sides. But the biggest thing is going forward, it's like it's already a shortage of good men when you talk about that anyway. When you talk about good men, now you can get a man, but can you get a good man? You know, and then if you do, how do that really look? Because it doesn't mean that you always know every day is going to be a sunny day. We just had rain in Dallas, storming down in Houston. So it's not going to be a sunny day every day. So how do that really look? That's the whole key thing in all of this. How do that really look if we're talking about a good man? So there's a lot of things that we have to consider. There's a lot of things that we have to go back to the drawing board. There's a lot of things that we have to do to turn the car around and make sure that we all on the same page, because again, it's not us. It's not just us. But charity starts at home, then it spreads abroad. You understand? Charity starts at home, then it spreads abroad. The first rule or the first step to survival is self-preservation. When you on an airplane, they tell you the first thing to do if you're feeling any kind of cabinet pressure, when the mask drop down, is to put the mask on you first, then the child. But put it on you first. So these are the kind of things that we have to do. We have to consider these things, because if we don't, we're just going to keep kicking the can on down the street until we get to the next generation, then the next generation after that, the next generation after that. And you see today where all of this have gotten us. So here we are once again. P. Diddy, the poster child, African American brother, on everybody's media board right now, as if, you know, speaking about in its totality, as if he's the baddest dude in America. And I'm just not buying it. Even if they put, what did Josh say earlier? Let me get the comment that Josh said earlier. He said, let me put it up here. So put this comment back up here again, if I can go through it. Yeah, he said, I know it was something referring to, this is bigger than Cassie. It's bigger than Cassie. It is bigger than Cassie. And there's a lot that's going to come down, I think, especially kind of like the Epstein situation when they went in the man's cell, and I think they really killed this man because he had a little black book and he was about to tell it all. He had the little black book and he was about to tell it all. And of course, he didn't get a chance to tell it all. But it's much, much bigger, because some of these people are dressing up in these what I call clown gowns, you know, late at night, 12 a.m., midnight, dressing up, you know, taking these secret oaths, swearing before this Baphomet and these different devil gods and these different evil jinns and so forth. Yeah, I believe that they're doing that. But again, Satan ain't your friend. He's an open, avowed enemy to everybody. He don't like the Muslims. He don't like the Christians. He don't like the Jews. He don't like those who are trying to practice their faith to the best of their ability. You know, he hates, like us doing this show, talking about this right now. These are the kind of shows that he despises, because you know why? It ain't one of them shows you get only just talking, just, you know, filthy at the mouth and everything is being said and no substance to the show. We try to bring, correct content and substance to the show. Let me bring Tim back to the stage. Yeah, we try to bring something of value. That's why you always hear me say, thank you for joining the replay. What we're trying to make your day. Because when we make your day, we make our day. That's what this show is about. If I don't have number one person that come on this show, I'm going to speak as if I'm speaking to 25,000 people or 10,000 people. You understand? Because this show is about knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We're going to continue to build on these kind of things and get more of this out there because we have to have a new narrative. We have to. So, the women being the great pretenders and pretending like, especially today. And I don't know. If DA was on here, DA, he would just simply tell you he don't think it's no coming back from it. Tim?
Yeah, that's what he say.
Back from this. I don't think we can turn the car around on this. He just don't see it. Man, I just don't want to lose hope for us like that. But it's just sad that, hold on for a second. It's just sad that they hold us up and crucify one of us on the cross and we all just jump on it. And I heard Minister Farrakhan say some years ago in reference to let us treat our own, let us punish our own. You don't worry about what we gonna do with them, but turn them over to us and let us deal with them. Yeah, turn Diddy over to us. Let us deal with him. But y'all ain't in no position to try to say nothing when he talks about beating and hanging and raping and cutting babies out of women and everything else. See, I have a problem with that. You can tell me to, get over. No, I'm never going to get over because the Jews never get over the Holocaust. You can't say nothing anti-whatever without it being anti-Semitic. No, I'm not giving up on that. You might leave the battlefield. You might, saying kumbaya. You might think, this is utopia. But nah, I deal in realism. I'm just simply saying, before you cast your rock, go look in the mirror. But let us deal with P. Diddy. Because I know some brothers will put their hands on him, do some real foul to him right about now. But we don't need y'all trying to chime in. We don't listen to y'all long enough. And look what that has really gotten us. That's all I'm saying. So now it's all on the media. And you see, it's just like people, I'm sitting saying, wait a minute. Ain't you with a woman? You're a woman, but you with a woman. And you think that's justified in the eyes of God. You think that's cool. Sit down somewhere, clown. I started to say her name, but I'm not going to say her name. But look here. Please sit down somewhere. Sit down somewhere. But anyway, Tim, man, I get percolating on when I see people in their hypocrisy, man. I really do.
Well, you said a lot because when you think about what's really going on, we have too many people airing out dirty laundry. Now, you will say something actually it's good to actually bring things to the light because what's in the dark will eventually get to the light. So sometimes the messenger, that's what it's for. But I tell you one thing about it, the way we go about it, how we put all our problems and all our things is going on without any accountability is the problem. So these things actually can help address accountability, but we're not talking about accountability. And that's the whole problem about this. We're not thinking about accountability. And we may have missed a generation though. If I go back and I'm thinking about what DA says, there may be a generation that just may not get it. But I'm telling you, there's another generation that we got going on that actually we need to get it. Because usually sometimes it skips a generation. They got lost. They so lost in celebrity and money and showmanship and all that kind of type of thing. Actually being infamous more than being, infamous and famous. They don't know the difference between those two things. So they don't care which one they are, as long as it gets popular, right? So they want that. It's all about numbers and clicks and likes and love. Well, not real love, fake love, public love. But right. The substance of everything is about teaching our young ones, hey, have discernment, have values, and then rest on those values and morals. No, you don't need to be messing with some guy who ain't right. But that don't mean you take down the men, all these men who actually are about something. You don't throw out the, kid with the bathwater because you sit up there talking about your exception or your own situation because you've been pained because of your bad discernment. You pained by your bad discernment. Now you won't say that everybody's the same way because of you. Too many of y'all are actually talking out of your pain instead of learning to talk out of your values. Talk from your values and not out of your pain so then you can see what you really desire. Because you keep talking out of your pain, you'll keep getting the same thing. Keep talking out your pain, you'll keep getting the same thing. Okay? So talk out of your values so then you can elevate. Then you get an elevated man. That's how you get
Yeah.
an elevated man. Go ahead, Jabril.
Absolutely. Well, I was gonna say, let me shout out my man, my guy, man, Mr. Antwell, man. I like what he said. He said DJ Kid gave the bubble to over 700 black teenage girls, and everyone talking about Diddy. DJ Kid was a terrorist to the black community in South Carolina. You know, so it's just a lot of other things to get into and talk about. But you know, this country is always, you know, media driven about the things that they're gonna you know, build up, and the thing that's gonna make money, because it's all about sensationalism. If you can find somebody like a Diddy, you know, with the clout that he has, if he's not a billionaire, close to being a billionaire, it's just gonna sell, and that's what they want. You know, scandal. They want, you know, to broadcast, you know, live and public, and everybody weigh in, you know, and say what they're gonna say. And again, I'm gonna say it again. I'm not here to support Diddy by any stretch of the imagination. I've said what I need to say on Monday's show. I'm just simply saying, I'm looking at people who actually think they're gonna get into paradise by being in these transgenders and bisexual relationships and all this voyeurism and the things that they do. See, you need to check yourself at the door. You need to start looking in your own, because I'm saying God is judging it all. He's judging it all. He's judging it. He's judging it all. And when the man said God and grace and mercy, I got to draw the line in the dirt, because I'm not going to do God's job. I'll be just as big as a hypocrite as he would be trying to do God's job. I'm on my floor 5 times a day, trying to yield my sins and ask God for forgiveness. And when the angel of death visit me, I pray that's another 50 years down the road. But whenever it happens, I pray that my soul is removed gently and placed in the highest level of paradise, because that's my goal. But again, all these pretenders, man, and I just put up the women because, you know, you got guys who are pretending too. You know, probably more so than the women.
Check this out. We got all this thing we talked about. Everybody wants to be natural now. Everything natural, right? We want natural foods. There's a whole thing about health and everything being natural, your hair being natural and all that kind of stuff. Yet the pervading thing that we see is unnatural. All synthetic. Synthetic butts, synthetic eyelashes, synthetic hair, synthetic extra body parts, okay? Changes in body parts, fake. All these things we keep seeing is, we talking about natural, everything is synthetic. You know, you got to go back to nature, because the way of life is nature. It's natural, right? Yet we keep doing everything synthetic, and we wonder why we got problems. We got to get back to nature, and we talk about it, but you're still doing other things. You can't talk about it and then you're doing all these other synthetic things.
Right.
You're gonna have a synthetic life. Yeah, we got to get back to it. That's spiritual. That's God.
Right.
Get back to God when you get back to nature.
Absolutely. Well, Tim, we got to close out the show, man. Unfortunately, man, that's the last topic we have. I want to thank everybody who came and jumped on with us this evening. We had some wonderful topics, man. Thank y'all for chatting out, giving your honest and sincere opinions. I don't know, we're not there just yet, but hopefully as a people we will get there, because our ancestors hoped and prayed, and their ancestors hoped and prayed, and we'll continue to hope and pray for our generation for a new normalcy of the day. But we need to start looking at ourselves first before we allow outsiders to look at us and demonize us and make us into demigods and all these other things that they try to channel within our culture. Because they're, in the words of Damon Dash, he loved to call them, you know, culture vultures or vulture cultures or whatever. Your culture vultures. That's what he called them. Yep. You know, because again, we have to take accountability. We have to go back, man, and really educate ourselves so we can be an asset to our people, our young, you know, girls, our young boys. You know, we have to be able to give back. Some of us are in the 3rd quarter of life, others are in the 4th quarter of life. But whatever quarter you in, play the game until the final seconds have ticked off the clock. That's the biggest thing. Understand? So look at, you know, start with self first, man, because this thing is about self-preservation. If I don't have nothing good to say, I try to hold certain things to myself. Especially when someone starts repenting their sins, because you don't know what God, he's not a finished product. Maybe if he go to prison, get himself together, man, that's good for the soul. Because what profits a man to gain the whole world, right? But then lose his soul. So don't let your life be in vain. You know, you sitting up here profiting off the world, and that may be his biggest mistake. So God gonna help him out now. God got to intervene, and when God intervenes, that's when we have to start thinking about new ideas and new things. So yes, this has been the replay sports culture show where we try to make your day. Again, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and share button. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We're still growing the channel. We thank each and every one of y'all for coming on. To my co-host, my guy, my brother, Tim Jackson, thank you, brother, for coming on. And to our brother, Daryl Alexander the Great, big shout out to BA, because I know he wanted to be on this evening. As well as my man, Jeff Book. You know, Book about that football. So we're going to get Book back on here too once the season starts back around too. So again, I want to thank everybody that came on this evening. God bless you all, and always, always keep God first.
Always. Remember, the greatest thing is energy. We'll talk about that another time.